be a judge if it weren't for him and his.
Judge David Newglad didn't hesitate when asked to finish what his mentor started.
Rewarded for that accomplishment, because I really think why that still is taking.
I can right now for my kids. Yeah, I got a job, still don't have a vehicle, but working on that. You know, just trying to take it one step at a time.
But baby court has given her the skills and the confidence.
So many broken kids as a result of the system that
with their kids thinking what's next, you know, high school sports and always what's next.
They're coming, just calm down, let us know what's going on.
Yeah, somebody just got shot at 2320.
But in these 5 square miles known as Beecher, for years there's been a pride so strong that on game night, none of that matters.
Bucktown, baby.
Sometimes it take everybody off the corners and bring them to the game just to watch Beecher football.
That legacy began in the 70s and 80s when Beecher would win so many regional and state championships in track, basketball, and football that Bucktown was deemed the District of Champions.
No matter what I did, he believed in me.
And now, as the sun sets in a city with so much darkness,
Night is coming.
A light shines in a Flint home.
And I know that soon.
As a young mother does something that a year ago she could only dream about.
I'll go to sleep in my cozy room.
Anymore the way they're supposed to.
There is no cure, but there is hope.
Hi, buddy.
Before sunrise, every 2 weeks, the Berrigers wake up Luke for a nearly 2-hour trek from Midland to Lansing. There, Luke will get an infusion that gives him a fighting chance at life.
Nurses used to call it muscle juice.
Dr. Amalfitano is a pediatric.
Meet Steve Nanoshi.
Just had this vision to put this thing together.
Steve opened this market more than a year ago. It stocks everything from specialty beers to rare wines to freshly made salads. But the most important thing here has little to do with the inventory.
My Alex is still, the way I envision my Alex, he's still 15.
Overlooking the grill and the groceries is perhaps the most unlikely.
I've seen it as a judge, I've seen it as a prosecutor. It doesn't fix anything. It just moves people along. We've got to fix it. We've got to fix it now.
One judge, one mission.
We're terminating far too many parental rights in the system, and we need to put families back together if we can.
To change a system he believed was failing and protect those who can't speak for themselves.
And they need help. They're crying out.
Judge Robert Weiss would answer that cry for help by bringing baby court to Genesee County.
ABC 12 cameras were there as tempers flared and emotions ran wild. Fists fly and punches are thrown outside Judge Yule's courtroom on the 3rd floor of the Genesee County Circuit Court building. The judge had just finished sentencing DeCoven Kerr in the death of Jaquan Dudley back in June of last year. A handful of people left the courtroom as Kerr's mother pleaded for her son not to be locked up.
In the middle of a neighborhood that's seen its share of tough times, where so many have lost jobs, homes, and even hope, there's a school. Next to the school, there are streets so tough they claim young lives and rob many kids of their parents, their dreams, even their childhoods. The district borders Mount Morris Township and Flint, one of our nation's poorest and most dangerous cities. But in these 5 square miles known as Beecher, for years there's been a pride so strong that on game night, none of that matters.
Bucktown, baby.
Sometimes it take everybody off the corners and bring them to the game just to watch Beecher football.
That legacy began in the 70s and 80s when Beecher would win so many regional and state championships in track, basketball, and football that Bucktown was deemed the District of Champions.
Try to erase the sad things and give them something to look forward to.
Coach Moses Lacey led the football and basketball teams to many of the trophies in the school's packed case. They played plenty of schools with more money and better facilities, but they were no match for Beecher's heart.
Say, listen, look where you come from. Some great guys have walked through this locker room here, and regardless of what we got here, we take advantage of what we have. you know, and I said, this is what you build your pride on.
Coach Lacey's leadership was game-changing for so many young men on the field and in life, including former high school All-American Courtney Hawkins. He graduated Beecher in the top 10 of his class and refused to let his zip code define him.
From an excuse standpoint, my mom didn't accept him. My grandmother didn't accept him. So that's, you know, Coach Lacey, Coach Perlis, you know, all the people that have helped mold me into who I am didn't accept excuses.
It was a formula for success. Hawkins would become one of the top 5 wide receivers in MSU history and was a second-round draft pick for Tampa Bay. He spent 5 years with the Bucs, then the next 4 in Pittsburgh, playing for the Steelers. But the hometown he loved would face the unthinkable. In February 2000, a 6-year-old boy would find a loaded gun in a shoebox and bring it to Beecher's Buell Elementary School, where he would shoot and kill his first-grade classmate, Kayla Rowland.
This community is no stranger to violence. We're certainly not strangers to violence in school buildings. But the last place we would have expected this to happen is an elementary school in the Beecher district.
The school shooting involving the youngest students in our nation's history would shine a light on the crime, drugs, and poverty plaguing a community that was struggling to hold on to what it once was. Beecher senior Gerard Brown was in kindergarten when Kayla was killed.
I heard about it during school. As a little kid, you don't really think about it because you're young yourself. But now that you're older and you hear about it, you like, that was crazy. So when you think about it now, it kind of hurts.
The school, athletic program, and students were in crisis. And one of Beecher's favorite sons would answer the call for help.
Growing up here, I kind of understand their struggles and what goes on in the streets.
Courtney Hawkins would move his family back to Michigan because of his mother's health and make a decision that changed countless lives.
As soon as I signed the papers to buy this house, my mom instantly got better. Maybe the man upstairs was saying, okay, I'm gonna use her to get you back here, or I don't know, but it's just funny how things happen.
In 2006, Coach Hawkins would return to a football team and school that had lost the spirit and winning record he had helped create.
We had a number of seasons where we were just 0-9, you know, 1-8. There was really no football tradition here. We had gotten away from that here at Beecher. We were just about, you know, playing basketball.
And it went well beyond the scoreboard. Only 75 of a senior class that started at 260 will graduate this year. Off the field, the stakes have never been higher.
Where do you think you'd be without Coach?
Basically, nowhere in the streets. This is my you know. Because without Coach, he got me out here, and I've been working ever hard since my 10th grade year.
Coaching Beecher's football team involves much more than teaching X's and O's. Hawkins helped arrange for the local Little Caesars to donate team dinners on game night when he realized some of the boys were playing on an empty stomach. He quietly buys the kids cleats and other gear and steps up to be the male mentor many of them desperately need.
The things I go to Coach Hawk about is the things I really should be going to my father about. But either way it go, I'm still glad to have a male role model in my life.
For Coach Hawkins, it's not just about the game. It's about what happens to the kids in his hometown.
We got to have them doing something because we can't have them in the streets. It's just terrible right now. If we have to use athletics to grab these kids and, you know, bring them here, then that's fine. But with having their attention, we teach life lessons.
Get to class.
Coach Hawkins doesn't just talk the talk. He has literally walked the halls and streets these young men walk. Growing up, his father left when he was about 3.
We had our struggles as a single-parent family.
Yeah.
But I had a great, you know, that's my grandfather over there. Everything that I needed to know as a man, I basically got from my granddad. But my mom, you know, she allowed my granddad to take me into teach me these things that her as a woman couldn't. But from a discipline standpoint and keeping me in line, she didn't play.
The coach's mom even had her own eligibility requirements long before schools had them in place. When she found out young Courtney had a C, she pulled him from a basketball game in front of a shocked team.
She timed it perfect, came and got me during warm-ups and told me, you're not playing.
And Mrs. Hawkins' lesson about academics is part of the coach's program. Players spend several days a week at study hall.
I had a kid who was just talking to me 2 weeks ago who was saying, Miss Hawkins, this is the first time I've ever had good grades.
Courtney's wife Candace and his 3 daughters are just as committed to the team and giving up lots of precious daddy time to help make a difference.
It touches all of us. Even at one point when he wasn't sure if he was going to keep coaching, we were just at home. The girls and I were really upset. Like,
it makes me tear up, think about it, because I said to him, if you aren't going to be there for the kids, for those boys, who's going to be there for them?
And Coach Hawkins believes it's God's will for him to give back to the community that gave him the heart of a champion.
I said, now it's on your shoulders. You got a job to do.
The prayers have been answered. Coach Hawk has worked 6 years to rebuild the football program, and the fans have come.
Go out, play Buccaneer football, play fast.
Friday, the Bucs will be in the playoffs for the 5th year straight.
This shows that people can come from anywhere, any household, any struggle, and you can still make it by hard work and dedication or desire.
And although the state championship is the goal, Coach Hawkins says it isn't what this is all about.
I try to approach it as, real life and preparing them, to leave Beecher. To leave this 5 square miles and to see that there's a huge world, and in order to be competitive in this world, you got to do things a certain way.
It's about doing his part to build better men and rebuild the District of Champions.
Amen. Amen. Yeah!